Let's begin by telling you that the Senate has considered the report of its Committee on Finance on a set of tax reform bills. The bills include the Nigerian Revenue Service Bill, the Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Fund Bill. 2 out of the 4 tax bills scaled through the third reading. They had earlier passed first and second reading between October 2024 and February 2025 before being referred to the Finance Committee, which conducted a public hearing in March. Following the committee's report, the bills underwent clause-by-clause consideration and scaled third reading, the final stage before transmission for presidential assent.
Having heard the exhaustive synopsis summary committee as well as the Committee on Finance, a motion has now been moved that we now resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider the reform bills for Nigeria, clause by clause. Those in support of this motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We resolve to Committee of the Whole.
Today we are in the National Assembly. What is certain is that tomorrow we will not be here, but this institution will be here. In all our conversation earlier, we emphasized the need to leave this business in the affairs of competent, qualified people. We are trying to divorce the system from politics as much as possible. Now, when this has gone through all the labor agency made by people who are competent as provided for under the law, with profound respect, I do not think that the fact that National Assembly has oversight responsibility, that we should now become an approving authority.
In practice, what Senator Dan Kwambo is saying is that it would lead to a lot of bottlenecks. That where the minister has given a warrant to the executive vice chairman to go ahead and deduct money from agencies and all that. That's an executive function. And to subject that to the approval of the committee of the Senate means even to deny the Senate and the House of Representatives the opportunity to undertake the oversight. It's going to take long. Because it's not only the committee of the Senate that will be required, it will be National Assembly. And so to subject it to the National Assembly, there is House of Representatives and the Senate, the process will become nebulous and cumbersome.
In the meantime, Information and National Orientation Minister Mohammed Idris has appealed to journalists to not give prominence to stories emanating from the activities of bandits and terrorists in the country. Idris gave the charge during his opening remarks at the ministerial press briefing in Abuja on Wednesday, where he noted that the war on terror wasn't just about boots and guns, but also about the mind. He argued that it was better if media reports about terror activities were not put on the front pages at all.
For the hearts and minds of our people, one that terrorist groups are actively exploiting through propaganda, especially on social media platforms. I therefore call on my colleagues, media professionals and editors to be discerning in their reportage. We must deny these groups the undue publicity they crave. We must take them off the front pages and accurately report them as the criminals that they are, without glorifying their acts or giving credence to their false narratives. These, of course, are not freedom fighters.
In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has submitted the 2025 Federal Capital Territory Budget proposal to the House of Representatives. The President's letter, read by the Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas had lawmakers who had resumed plenary after a month-long recess and proposed an estimated 1.78 trillion naira for the federal capital.
Of 1,783,823,708,392 naira is proposed for the year 2025. As such, 85% of the capital expenditure is dedicated to the completion of ongoing projects, while 15% is for new capital projects, so as to sustain ongoing efforts at providing basic infrastructure and social amenities in the FCT.
And now to judicial matters. The Federal High Court in Abuja has admitted video evidence showing that the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, issued directives to armed gunmen which triggered terrorism and insecurity in the southeast. At the resumed hearing on Wednesday, the Department of State Services presented a flash drive containing the video, while one of its witnesses, identified only by the code name BBB, testified that Kanu's broadcast via Radio Biafra led to violent attacks across the region. The video showed Kanu addressing followers, after which he announced the formation of the Eastern Security Network and ordered their resistance in order to promote ethnic domination. To politics, the Labour Party has announced the indefinite suspension of 6 prominent members, including Abia State Governor Alex Oti, Senators Darlington Mokocha and Ireti Kingibe, over alleged anti-party activities. Others suspended are Victor Ofamogene, Amobi Oga, and Sheyi Shomi. The party's National Executive Council said the decision followed the recommendations of a 5-man disciplinary committee set up on May 2, 2025 to probe allegations of anti-party conduct. In a statement signed by the National Secretary Umar Farouk Ibrahim on Wednesday, the party said the suspension takes immediate effect and bars the affected members from participating in any Labour Party activities. And to react to this, we are joined by the National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Abayomi Arabambi. Mr. Arabambi, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, let's first establish the anti-party activities that the Abia State Governor, alongside others, were accused of, validating their suspension.
Well, thank you very much. From the onset, you are all aware there was a local government election in Abia State where the man we helped, to resuscitate his political life that have traversed APC, PDP, APGA, and we gave him a lifeline to win an election in 2023. We have the audacity, because he's a city governor, to now go and collude with Zenith Labour Party, who won all local government elections, 17 chairmanship, when he is a governor representing Labour Party. That was nothing but sheer anti-party activities. There is no gainsaying, there is no defense, concerning that. That is, for Governor Lesoti. Is it the rest that was suspended? It is not today, they involve themselves in action capable of undermining the territorial integrity and safety of Nigeria. It is not today they involve themselves in an attempt to undermine our democracy. And it is not today they involve themselves in maligning our judiciary, where you see them making all manner of funny comments concerning 2023 general election, claiming, democracy should be aborted and nobody won an election, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is legitimate. No, that is not ideal of Labour Party. We believe only in winning through the ballot and not through the gun that a lot of them are planning
And again, there was a release by the NSC today saying they want to come and invade the party secretariat. We will be using this platform because your TV station is not only in Nigeria, it's international. We are calling on the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, and the DTSS to place a watch on the following people. One, Governor Lesotho of Abia State. Two, Mr. Peter Obi, wherever they have their residence, they should keep a close watch because they intend to come and cause mayhem in Abuja.
Abayomi, now, does this confirm the revelation of Valentine Osibo, a former Labour Party member, that the party is dying and that more chieftains will leave soon? Because it seems to be painting a picture of a crisis being orchestrated by some people within the fold of the party.
Let me be very clear. Valentine Osibo, Oseloka, they are all part of the people that poisoned Labour Party before they left. They were part and parcel. They thought we will go into the IC unit like their own group, but we have survived their poison. That was why they ran away, so that we will not visit our venom on them. So Osibo lacked every moral right to ever talk about Labour Party. Here was a man who came, from PDP to join Peter Obi. Go and look at, everything, he said about Labour Party, the party for the future, this and that. But because, you see, they have one plan, a plan to destabilize Nigeria using Labour Party. Himself, Oseloka, NSC president, all of them, they have one plan. And that plan was to destabilize democracy in Nigeria. And we have been telling them we will never be a party to that. Let us wait for 2027. If we are going to defeat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it must be through the ballot. Not everybody, anywhere, no matter any place, be you governor, former president candidate, none of them has the right to now be asking that democracy should be aborted. If you watch now, 2 days ago, the Jingye was on air asking youth to rise against Wike. What is the business of Wike in Labour Party? What is the business of Wike in our crisis? That you now be calling on the youth that they need to go and rise against Wike. It is wrong. They have a plan. That sinister plan is what they want to act through Labour Party. They needed a political platform where they will, unleash the iPhone in their member whom they call obedient on Nigeria. They don't want to abolish democracy. And we will not allow them to do that. That's why we ask all of them to go. Anybody that wants to absorb them, they are free. But for us, they will not use Labour Party to force, for them to abort democracy. Okay. That is just their plan.
All right, so it's been argued that the leadership of the Julius Abure Labour Party is illegitimate. There have been questions as to on what authority this particular suspension is premised. But of course, they say that the Labour Party is factionalized. So how do we correspond this particular ruling by a committee and the fact that this party seems not to be in consensus in terms of its trajectory?
Let me be very clear. Like I said, it is on your program where Dati Ahmed claimed Bola Ahmed Tinubu is legitimate. It is on your station where you see Governor Lesotho, Peter Obi, and they are like saying administration of Abure is illegitimate. You see, that is what they are known for. Are you getting me? Because when you ask them, where did they derive their own legitimacy to claim that, an administration is legitimate? When you are holding any meeting, for God's sake, you have Section 82, sub 1 and 5 electoral to contend with if you want to hold any next meeting. They gather themselves, as far as we are concerned, in a yam festival, both in Nambia and in Abuja. Yam festival is good, it's a celebration of what it's an event that you need to celebrate. But you don't bring yam festival into Labour Party matter. How can Lesotho and Obi now be claiming to be chairman and secretary, purportedly that they will even write a letter to INEC, sign that as chairman and secretary to convene a next meeting, knowing fully well that Section 82(1) said such shall be signed by national chairman and secretary of the party. And Section 222 is very specific. Any association that want to be registered as a political party shall have their own lifeline, shall have their own constitution. And number 3 is Section 223 of the Constitution forbid caretaker administration of a political party. So that is what they were just trying to do. And moreover, you see, with due respect, to the dead, which I don't want to comment, they brought in Dr. Nyokupe. At the end of the day, the EFCC found him guilty. Now they are going to go to bring an Usman, who is having a pending EFCC matter since 2015. He's on bail, administrative bail. There was a woman who transferred money from the ministry account into a private account in number 7 Kachia Road, Kaduna. Now, it's standing trial. Obi is synonymous with moving with people that have corruption. People that are ethnically corrupt is synonymous with him moving with some people.
Abayomi, what actually, a lot of people want to confirm is if this particular suspension of these political figures within the Labour Party is ratified, and if the leadership actually agree, the totality of the leadership of the Labour Party agree with this particular suspension rule.
They are gone. They cannot contest under our party. They are gone. As I told you, I said we are not going to bring anybody, pretending to be a nationalist, but they are nothing but intruders. People that just want to send Nigeria ablaze. That is their plan. Bob Joadero, Peter Obi, and Lesoti, they don't love Nigeria. We know them. They only needed a platform. They needed a political platform to unleash terror, to call political insurrection. They don't want to terminate our democracy. Believe me, they were rigged in 2023 election. And I'm telling Nigeria via your session, Labour Party losing that election. We were not rigged, but we played to the gallery via two people that Peter trusted. Aisha Yesufu and Pastor Idwani Ugodado, they were the ones that messed that election up for us, and nobody should play the nobody should play them. We lost the election, but we told them we should prepare ourselves again in 2027. But they didn't want to do that, so they now find themselves together.
Yeah, Mr. Abambi, number one, the governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, is the only governor, representing the Labour Party in the 36 states. I think we just lost connection with Abayomi Abambi. I would have loved to put that question to him. Hopefully we can continue this conversation some other time. But then let's go on a short break on the news. When we return, Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, other lawmakers defect from the PDP to the APC. We'll bring you more stories of this and others in a short while. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. We continue with political stories. The opposition parties in Nigeria have suffered another blow as the senator representing Kano South, Sumaila Kawu, officially announced his defection from the new Nigeria People's Party to the All Progressives Congress. This was conveyed in a letter addressed to the Senate and read during plenary by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. Senator Kawu, in his letter, attributed the defection to a deepening internal crisis in the NNPP, describing the party as fractured and dysfunctional. The opposition, however, expressed concern over the development.
In the past months, I had observed a growing number of litigations that have practically torn the party apart and left its structure fractured, all of which clearly centered around issues of party disunity, factional leadership, and the legitimacy of its operations put in doubt. These legal battles have not only eroded internal cohesion, but have created parallel and conflicting authorities within the party.
Mr. President, I have a three cogent region which I want, and I am sending it to true lovers of democracy, more particularly my constituents. It is a constitutional representation. I am representing people, and they are looking up to me to bring something better and to do something better.
Senator Abaribe, we are not sorry because we are happy. No matter your look, we will continue to do what is necessary for Nigeria. So the movement of Senator Kawu is necessary for Nigeria. Nigeria needs unity at a time like this so that we don't have too much political acrimony.
Well, it is his choice. But I want to say that when we predicate our movements on the nebulous excuse that you want to satisfy the interests of your constituents, that interests or those interests were encapsulated in your campaign to them before they gave you the platform. And if you have decided now to migrate because you see some silver linings up there, at the appropriate time, when they choose to come back, the house is still here, and we will welcome them.
Still talking defections, the wave has continued to rock Nigeria's political space. The latest is coming from Edo State, where the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Blessing Agbebaku, along with other lawmakers, defected from the PDP to the APC. The Governor of Edo State, Monday Okpebolo, alongside the national leadership and stakeholders of the party, welcomed the Speaker and the other defectors into the All Progressives Congress in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Progressive Congress.
Meanwhile, 22 members of the Delta State House of Assembly, elected under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, have also defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The Central's correspondent, Austin Azu, reports that with their defection, the entire 26 seats of the Delta State House of Assembly is now under the APC.
After Governor Sheriff Oborewori and the PDP leadership structure in Delta State defected to the APC, the political landscape in the oil-rich Niger Delta State has been in the center of political discourse. Now, 1 week after, the State House of Assembly resumed plenary to deliberate on the state's affairs.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
The Speaker of the House, Imamotimi Gowo, welcomed the lawmakers to plenary after the Easter break, assured that the House will continue to prioritize the welfare and security of Deltans in line with the legislative agenda of the 8th Assembly. He thereafter announced the defection of 22 PDP members in the House to the APC.
The defection by the 22 honorable members is hinged on the instability of the national leadership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the factionalization of the South-South Zonal ESCO, which has resulted in division within the PDP. The defection is also in line with Section 109 Sub 1. By this action, the membership of the Delta State House Assembly is now 100% APC.
In reaction to their defections claims, Chairman, PDP South-South Caretaker Committee, Emmanuel Ogidi, disputed the lawmakers' assertion that the fractionalization of the South-South Zonal Executive of the party caused division within the PDP.
Well, there's no fractionalization of the PDP South-South. It's just we have an impostor who has been going around. In fact, they even went to court. But the court denied them whatever they wanted to do. That's the truth.
As Delta State's political landscape unfolds, indications are that the state PDP is reorganizing to assume the role of opposition in the state. In Asaba for News Central, Austin Azu.
Away from that, dignitaries and well-wishers converged on Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital territory, for a memorial and a day of tributes in honor of the late Ijaw icon, Chief Edwin Clark. Clark, who served in various capacities within state, regional and federal governments, was a prominent voice in the agitations of the Niger Delta. Dignitaries present include former President Goodluck Jonathan, former Vice President Namadi Sambo, General Yakubu Gowon, former Anambra Governor Peter Obi, constitutional lawyer Mike Ozekome, and leaders of several socio-cultural groups, among others. Let's tell you this. A volunteer oil spill monitoring group, the Youths and Environment Advocacy Center, has raised a serious alarm concerning an oil spill in the Kata community in the Awada East local government area of Rivers State. The oil spill occurred on the Okodia-Rumepe pipeline right-of-way, which was recently divested by Shell Petroleum Development Company to Renaissance Africa Energy Company as part of a $2.4 billion deal. News Central's Biola Festus was at the pipeline facility in the Carter Forest and brings us this report.
Visual evidence sent in by the Environmental Volunteer Group indicates crude oil spewing into the ecosystem from an evidently broken pipeline. Through the hard-to-reach and highly porous forest of Ikata, New Central crew braved the dangers, wading through the waters to access the spill scene.
We are close. I can smell the crude.
After about 20 minutes walk through the muddy and slippery rainforest, accessible only by foot or swamp boogie, we arrived at the crude oil pipeline right-of-way. The facility had been shut down, but crude oil splatters on the surrounding vegetation were evidence of what had happened. A surveillance personnel and a tour guide who reported the spill tells us what he knows. From a glance at the scene, it appears that the spill was caused by third-party interference, as the soil around the pipeline had been excavated.
Started this spill, I have to approach the scene, and I was excavated the point of the pipeline. So, right on the pipeline, what I saw was crude oil flowing from the pipeline. While taking photos to report to the appropriate authorities, which is the pipeline infrastructure. And I overheard some farmers were saying, oh, contractor even give them small money to do all this art of vandalizing the pipeline, so contractors will come and do repair. From there they make out their money. Since it's not my area, what I have to do, I have to report to pipeline infrastructure that there's a spill here, since they're also covering here. So I have to call them and report, and they responded rapidly.
In the event of oil spills, NOSRA is responsible for determining the cause and assessing the environmental impact. However, 2 days after, NOSRA is yet to issue an official report.
NOSRA is yet to lead a joint investigation visit team to the area. So NOSRA has been very, very dormant. We don't know whether they exist or they just take salary and they don't work. Because NOSRA is supposed to be taking action on some of these spills. You know, trying to quote and invoke sections of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 to ensure that people who are responsible for spillage of this nature, vandalism of pipeline, are held to account.
The 14-inch Okodia Rumekpe pipeline right-of-way at Ikata, Ahoda East local government area of Rivers State, falls under the jurisdiction of the Trans-Niger pipeline, which is surveyed by the Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited. However, the company has yet to acknowledge the spill.
That wasn't water reflecting my image. That was my reflection in pure crude, the black gold. Now there's been a pipeline vandalization in this facility. We gathered that over the night some group of persons came here to vandalize this pipeline.
In Rivers State for News Central, Biola Festus.
It's now 41 days since the demise of the 16 Kano-based hunters allegedly killed by a mob while on transit to Kano at Uromi in Edo State. Family members held a 40-day prayer according to Islamic rites to formally mark the end of the grieving period. Some of them also converged on Kibiya local government secretariat for a protest, expressing their displeasure over the handling of the matter by government. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu was at the local government and now tells us more.
Some of the family members of the deceased hunters from Kano are allegedly killed by a mob on their way home for Salah. They are holding the mandatory 40-day prayer, which according to Islamic rites marks the end of a formal grieving period. From a prayer session to a protest, they expressed their displeasure over the assurances given by the Edo State government and the federal government to ensure justice for the victims and the snail speed at which the matter is being handled.
Yau cikamakin kwana 40 kenan. A har yanzu mu a matsayin mu na iyalan wannan mamata
Today makes it 40 days. Up till now, we in our capacity as families of the deceased, we don't know the current situation of things. The only thing we know about government effort is that the governor of Edo and Kano visited Turankawa to calm us down, making us promises and advised us on how to go about things and promised to secure justice for us by paying school fees for the children of the deceased, but up till now we have heard nothing. Received by the Kibia local government chairman and his team, the protesters also expressed concerns that their protest was confined to the premises of the secretariat, an action the Kibia local government authorities took responsibility for. We will do everything we can to always remind the state government in our capacity as administrators and leaders of Kibia local government to ensure that justice is served.
It is essential that justice is not only done but seen to be done promptly, fairly and transparently. We have also noted reports that some suspects have been apprehended and transferred to Abuja. While this is commendable, we look forward to a public and transparent trial that will serve as deterrent to others and impose the rules of law in our country. Lastly, I wish to call on civil society organizations, human rights groups, and the general public to learn their voices and monitor the process closely. The involvement of independent actors will further guarantee fairness, accountability, and the trust of the people. The pain of losing loved one is immeasurable, but with justice, compassion, and collective effort, we can begin to offer this family a fast to healing.
Despite 40 days already gone, the bereaved families say they will not stop their protest till they get justice for the deceased.
To gwamnati har yanzu shiru dai ba mu ji jawabi ba, gashi yau kwanansa 40 kenan mazajen mu akan mutuwar da suka yi.
Saboda kowa ya san yadda maraya yake, ga kuma halin da ake ciki a wannan ƙasa na yanayi na tsadan rayuwa, kuma a zuwa ce mutane sun rasa iyayensu ko kuma yayyinsu a ce ba a yi abu ba kamar yadda aka yi alkawari.
The demand for justice by these communities continues with the hope that it will not be long, as justice delayed is justice denied. Here in Kibia local government area of Kano State for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
From that, we talk about corruption now. As Nigeria battles rising insecurity, fresh concerns are being raised over the management of public funds within the Nigeria Police Force. Several pro-transparency groups at a recent roundtable in Abuja say strengthening accountability should be the core focus of the police administration, especially in the light of serious allegations against the leadership of the force. Sumaya Abubakar reports.
Banditry and violent crimes, some civil society actors in Nigeria are calling for urgent police reforms with a focus on building public trust and entrenching accountability.
This conversation is more than reforms on paper. It's about real accountability in practice. It's about asking, are the resources meant to secure Nigerians being used transparently? Are procurement processes being followed? And are those in leadership positions upholding the trust placed in them by the public?
They say that this stems from a recent controversy implicating several high-ranking police management officials over a 6 billion naira uniform procurement contract, allegedly split into 66 smaller contracts to bypass financial rules, despite an earlier 7.34 billion naira allocation for the same purpose.
Could it be true that on January 16, 2024, through internal memo, the IGP reportedly approved the award of 6 billion contract for the supply of police uniforms, an amount well beyond his approval limit threshold?
Also under scrutiny are allegations of the irregular sale and ceding of police barracks to cronies through a private firm allegedly linked to the IGP.
These actions, if true, are not only in violation of federal infrastructure loss, but represent a direct threat to national security, as barracks are designated as critical security assets.
They call on the police to take the lead in becoming a model of transparency and accountability in its operations.
We believe that accountability is not a threat to the police, but a necessary tool to build public trust, enhance efficiency, and deliver the security that Nigerians desperately need.
As calls for transparency grow louder, all eyes will now turn to the leadership of the Nigerian police force for answers. Many citizens will be hoping that these allegations are addressed holistically, with the police restoring trust to a system supposed to be a model of transparency. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
Now I'll tell you that the federal government has inaugurated a committee to spearhead reforms of the National Youth Service Corps. At the inauguration ceremony in Abuja, the Minister of Youth Development during the inauguration ceremony says that the committee's mandate is to reposition the NYSC for greater national development, improved youth employability, and alignment with legislative frameworks. Our correspondent, Joshua Marai, has the details.
It was the official inauguration of the Presidential Committee on the Reform of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. The high-level engagement brought together top government officials from the Ministry of Youth Development, the Ministry of Education, and the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination.
The mandate of the committee is very clear. Reposition the National Youth Service Corps for national development, employability, and legislative alignment. The goal is to transform the NYC to make it more secured, more innovative, and more impactful, meaningful, to show to the Nigerian youth that even the social part of them that are former youth are so much cared for.
The Minister of Education says that reforms will help maximize the skills, qualifications, and interest of corps members for greater national impact.
Inculcating and incorporating teachers' corps into NYC 2 years optional, I think it's something we should consider. Obviously, the committee will act and see if it's something that is doable. They have to look at the financing, the budgeting, and all those things. The second part is medical corps. The same thing that will follow optional. And this should be only reserved for 3 areas: doctors, dentists, pharmacists, and nurses. Another 2 years optional. And these people, once they get this, with this corps, the teacher corps and the medical corps, they will only be given those contracts if they agree to serve in rural areas.
The Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination, Hadiza Bala Usman, says that the reforms will help transform the NYSC into a strategic workforce resource that meets the country's evolving development needs.
NYSC can no longer be a symbolic institution for unity alone. It must evolve into a strategic national workforce pipeline and skill empowerment engine. That is what we need it for, and we must consciously reform the institution to make it that for what it is that we want for 21st century Nigerian youth.
The committee is expected to review all existing NYSC documents, engage relevant stakeholders across the country, and recommend institutional reforms to the NYSC Act. It is also expected to propose frameworks for enhanced funding, monitoring, and evaluation of the scheme. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
In a move to strengthen ties with the media, the Rotary Club of Isheri North under District 9112 paid a courtesy visit to News Central Television. The visit comes ahead of the investiture of its 5th president, Rotarian Michael Adeleye. Adeleye, who led the delegation, stressed the need for media collaboration to amplify Rotary's impact. The club also extended an invitation to News Central's Managing Director, Kayode Akintemi, to speak and receive an award at the upcoming investiture.
Particularly coming here because we know the pedigree of the Managing Director, Editor-in-Chief of this station, who happens to be a friend of over 35 years that we've been together. And then obviously we want him to actually give us that opportunity to partner with us, because we carry out a lot of projects in the community and beyond that community. So we need a platform that can actually showcase what we do, so people understand what impact, positive impact we give to society. So by the time we come to you and say, please, we have a project, give us some money as a corporate beggar, once you know what we do, what we stand for, you'll be obliged to actually do that for us.
The biggest achievement we've achieved as a club this year, it's a club being inducted as one of the peace building clubs, into the Peace Corps of Rotary International. So Rotary Club in Chori North happens to be a Peace Corps club, which means we have 5 members of our club who have joined the Rotary Action Group for Peace. So our club this year became a Rotary Action Group for Peace.
I am truly honored to be invited as a keynote speaker, and I am truly grateful to be considered worthy of getting an award from the Rotary Club, Isheri North, District 9112. So thank you so much for that. Requesting that we partner with Rotary is almost a case of done deal to a large extent.
And now we go on a short break on the news. When we return, we'll tell you about the Port Sudan home that is said to be the largest naval base, which actually came under attack. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute. For the 4th consecutive day, Port Sudan, home to the country's largest naval base, came under attack, and this time by a drone strike on Wednesday. The city, which serves as the headquarters for the army-backed government, is now at the center of a deepening conflict that has gripped Sudan since April 2023. The war pits Sudan's regular armed forces against the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, an organization the government accuses of acting as a proxy for the United Arab Emirates. Until recently, Port Sudan had been a rare refuge from the violence, hosting hundreds of thousands of displaced civilians and critical United Nations operations. But that changed on Sunday when drone attacks, reportedly carried out by the ISF, began pounding the city. Outside of Africa, we tell you that cardinals from across the globe arrived in Vatican City to attend a special mass at St. Peter's Basilica, marking the final public ceremony before the conclave to elect a new pope. The mass, presided over by Giovanni Battista Re, Dean of the College of Cardinals, is a pivotal moment in the lead-up to the election. During the mass, Cardinal Re emphasized the challenging and complex historical moment facing the next pope. He urged his fellow cardinals to select a leader who can navigate these troubled times with wisdom. He also called for unity among the electors, stressing that personal interests should be set aside in favor of the Church's greater mission.
È inoltre forte il richiamo a mantenere l'unità della Chiesa nel solco tracciato da Cristo agli Apostoli. L'unità della Chiesa è voluta da Cristo, una unità che non significa uniformità, ma salda e profonda comunione nelle diversità, purché si rimanga sempre nella piena fedeltà al Vangelo.
In business, the Securities and Exchange Commission has warned the public against investing in property World Africa Network called P1 Max. The regulator is labeling its operations as potentially fraudulent. According to a public notice it issued, the SEC stated that P1 Max is not registered to operate in Nigeria's capital market and exhibits signs of a Ponzi scheme. Investigations revealed that the company offered unusually high returns and failed to honor withdrawal requests. The SEC urged Nigerians to avoid dealing with unregistered entities and report any suspicious investment schemes to prevent financial losses. Sports Team Nigeria has finally received their Chinese visas for the 2025 World Athletics Relays in Guangzhou, China, which is set to begin this weekend, running May 10 to 11. Athletes had faced significant travel delays as visa issues threatened their participation in the event. Thanks to efforts by the World Athletics and Athletics Federation of Nigeria, the team is now set to depart later in the day. However, according to reports, the men's 4x100-meter relay team has been hit with a setback. At least 2 athletes have withdrawn from the competition, leaving the squad under strength. Despite these challenges, Nigeria still aims for a podium finish at the World Relays. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll look at our top stories again. Senate has considered reports of its Committee on Finance on a set of tax reform bills. The Labour Party has suspended Abia State Governor Alex Oti, Senator Darlington Mokocha, Ireti Kingibe, and others. We also told you that Port Sudan is under fire for 4 days now as war reaches government stronghold. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. And you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Do watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.